Okay, so very good morning. Today we are starting this module of Indian economy or economics. So all the mobiles should be on silent. I don't want to hear any messages, pings. Okay? Yeah. So today we are going to start the economy section of GS paper 3. It is in prelims as well as in the mains part. So first, before starting, the first half an hour should be understanding the requirements of UPSC, what kind of trend is there in the examination, and how you can manage this area, because this is a very high scoring area. Unlike in other sections, there is uncertainty, but in this section there is quite certainty. So before starting the journey of UPSC, all the aspirants should know what is the expectation of UPSC from you. So you have to draw a line. We don't have to do PhD in subjects. अगर आपको तैयारी करना है, एग्जाम निकालना है, then you should listen to the advice which we are going to discuss. We'll have around 45 lectures in this entire module. And in this module, we'll make sure that you are able to cover the basics of economy for all the competitions. In fact, many of my students have got to the RBI Grade B Junior. Recently, just 2 days ago, NAFBID results came. One of the classroom students got into NAFBID. NAFBID is a development finance bank that was started 2 years ago by Government of India. This section is highly scoring, especially if you are able to understand the subject conceptually. You don't have to memorize anything. Economy is one area where if you've invested in the class for next 100 hours, we'll be solving a lot of MCQs. At personal level, we'll be solving 500 MCQs in the class itself. So if you just cover that part, that will probably meet the entire requirement. And beyond that, you just have to follow one newspaper. The newspaper, either it could be The Hindu or Indian Express. So first I'll tell you about the examination, the syllabus, the trend, which questions are coming from what section. So पहले पढ़ाई की पढ़ाई करते हैं. First let's understand. Economy is a subject that we'll study for next 2 months. But let's understand the requirements of the exam. And also, if you're serious about the process of examination, you have to be very clear. The sources have to be very limited. This is a common mistake where aspirants, majority of them are facing problem. In the end, suddenly you realize that this is not ready, that is not ready, and FOMO comes in, and you start following multiple sources, and in the end, nothing is ready. I would ask you to be as regular as possible in the class, because class itself will meet most of the requirements of the competition. And you can judge the classes also by looking at the PYQs. Can you solve the questions? Because that is the barometer of preparation, how well I'm doing in the examination. So what is the expectation of UPSC? This I've picked it directly from the notification which UPSC gives every year. And that will help you to maybe draw a line what to study and what not to study. The nature of and the standard of questions in the general studies paper will be such that a well-educated person will be able to answer them without any specialized study. That means you don't have to do PhD, you don't have to do specialization. The question will be such that to test a candidate's general awareness of a variety of subjects which will have a relevance for the career in civil services. So कल आपको civil servant बनना है, you have to go into the services, and thereby the questions that might be asked in the examination, they will have relevance in your career also. And here we are preparing for a competition which is generalized. We are not preparing for a competition which is technical. For that we have technical examination separately. So whatever you will do tomorrow in the services, that will require a good understanding of the current issues. Conceptually, you have to be sound in your subject at basic level, of course. For example, in the general studies class 12th level, basics and one newspaper understanding is needed. For optional, the knowledge has to be to the level of honors subject. So for example, you do BA honors or political science honors, so that optional honors knowledge is required. But in GS, maybe one level below. Honors is one level up, right? So this is the requirement of the exam. And UPSC is very clear. Again, there are two parts of the examination. The first is prelim, second is the mains. In the prelim section, on an average, how many questions we get, we'll understand what kind of questions are coming. And if the trend is changing, on what lines trends are changing. Because eventually we have to clear the prelims examination, and cutoff there is not more than 45%. But this section can help you steer the examination if you are just regular with the newspaper and your class efforts. Beyond that, there are standard books in the market. I'll tell about those standard books also. Though we don't have a standard book, we have guides in the market. So none of the books are very good in the market. They are just guides. But if you really want to read a standard book, you have to go university level. There are certain good books like Datta Sundaram and Mishra and Puri, which I believe will be much higher in terms of the requirements of the exam. We don't have that much time. But these market mein kitabein ye guide hain. So they are not standard books. Their summary of cut copy paste aspect is there. So they can be helpful only if your subject is clear. But if you're a beginner, they cannot help you because guide cannot teach you. Right? So first understand the career in civil services will require you to have a basic understanding of the subject. The questions are likely to test basic understanding of all relevant issues and ability to analyze and take a view on conflicting social and economic goals, objectives, and demands. The candidates must give relevant and meaningful answers. Succinct answer means to the point, brief answers. This is the UPSC's requirement. Now, as I mentioned, we have two parts of the syllabus, the prelim syllabus as well as main syllabus. Okay, online students, yeah. So in the prelim syllabus, we have, this is what they have mentioned: sustainable development, poverty, inclusion, demographic and social sector initiatives. Now, if you try to analyze this area, you'll find that this section, mainly they are more concerned about Indian economy. But to understand Indian economy, at basic level, you have to have a understanding of economics at concept level. Okay, so you need to know what economics is as the subject, then the concepts of the economics, and then the same can be applied in Indian context. So they want to know why India is 4 trillion economy, why not it is 15 trillion economy, or maybe more. Why have we not developed? In spite of 79 years of India's independence, we are still a lower middle income country, where countries like Japan, China, South Korea, Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, they have transitioned into developed economies in matter of few years or few decades. Why India is poor, if we say that India is poor comparatively, or for that matter, why India is not doing so better. But then, every journey has its own challenges, so we'll understand all that. So they are more concerned about the trends of the economy, how economy has functioned till now, the journey of economy. From the exam point of view, you have to look at that they will ask questions on why India has not industrialized, what is the way forward. If India is not industrialized, then will it do or not? How do we cater to the rising population, increasing demand, inequality in society, unemployment? Why there is so much disparity in different parts of India? Because UPSC would ask questions on these areas. So just mere studying a book will not do. A lot of your understanding will come from general reading and developing your analytical bent of understanding. And for that, you have to brainstorm, you have to think. So we will make detailed notes in the class. I'll be giving you handouts also in certain areas where there's too much of detailing is there. But mostly I'll be dictating in the class. Handouts would be in areas where I believe that too much detailing is there. So maybe so much writing is not possible in the class. But mostly the important part, the conceptual part, the information part, I'll be doing a lot of board work and I'll be dictating as well. So make sure your notes are prepared very properly, because these notes will carry for the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, till the time you get selected. And any examination in the country, the state services, the other examination, in every examination, these notes would be very helpful, because हम लोग इस पे अच्छा effort करेंगे. And my objective would be to make sure that, and I also assume that you have zero knowledge in economics. I'm assuming that you come from a background where you have zero knowledge. Also, I will make assumption here that students who are preparing for the examination should be able to score high. तो उसके लिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए minimum? Yes, you will have, it will take some things, some concept will take time to absorb, but eventually, I personally believe that if you're regular in the class, most of your issues would be resolved here, right? So we have to understand India's economy, and thereby the concepts of economy have to be understood. Now let's see the questions of the last 15 years. So when you look at the questions that have been come, on an average 15 to 18 questions they come, on an average. Some year, for example, this year 21 questions were there. In some year we had less questions also, but on an average 15 to 18 questions are there. Now these are core economics questions I'm talking about. Now there are other areas, because if you see the syllabus of UPSC, they have also mentioned social sector initiatives. Now if you add social sector initiatives, the government schemes, the welfare schemes, the other social justice part, social issues part, maybe 4 or 5 more questions can be added. So it's an extension of economics as a subject. So if you add that, I have not added those questions, that number will automatically reach to 25, maybe 22 to 25 questions. So that means this section is very rewarding if you make real effort. Outcome आपको दिखेगा, unlike other subjects where outcome is not visible. Now this is the syllabus of mains, that was a prelim syllabus. Now these are topics that in the mains will be covering. Now in all the major mains topic, they are about India's economy. So first we'll try to understand the concepts of the economy, concepts of the economics as a subject, understand them, also link with current. But this section, most of these topics are going to be covered in the later part of the course that we'll be taking. So if you look at I'll be sharing this PPT after the class, don't worry. So Indian economy, issues related to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development and employment. So this is about Indian economy. Inclusive growth, Indian economy. Government budgeting, Indian economy. Agriculture, this entire part is agriculture till here. This entire part, from major crops till you can say, upstream supply chain management. So this is the entire agriculture. So which means agriculture holds a very important part of the syllabus. In mains mein, you get around 50% questions in mains directly comes from agriculture, and these are pretty static topics. Nothing much has changed here. And there are direct questions that you get from here. Then the land reforms. You can say another topic is there. Then the LPG era, liberalization, industrial policy, infrastructure, energy, ports, roads, airports, railways, and investment models. So this is the mains syllabus, and this syllabus can be high scoring, but again here a basic thumb rule हमको follow करना है while preparing for the examination in general for UPSC, because there is too much information available in the market. For every topic you should have 3 pages of notes. For every topic in the syllabus you should have 3 pages of notes. Every topic. Basic thumb rule. In some topic it can be 5-7 pages, in some topic it can be 1 page also. Because you have 12 subjects that we are going to study for the entire CSE journey. So ज़्यादा पढ़ने से नहीं होगा. You have to study more effectively, and the limited sources has to be covered. This is a common problem we are coming across students who are preparing and who are giving mains examination. Even though they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't know how to write, and there's too much of information overload, and that creates you can say a situation where student का mains खराब हो जाता है. And we don't have the luxury to repeat the exam. So we have to crack this exam in a very limited time frame. This is the main syllabus. Now if you look at the weightage of questions, so on an average, as I mentioned, 15 to 18% questions are coming from the prelim section, in the main section 35 to 40% of the question paper यहाँ से आता है. So in mains we have GS3. Mains we have GS3 and GS3 economic section. Normally 100 to 110 marks you're getting every year. So 100 marks means out of 250 it is around 40%, right? So we have to cover this area. Mains तो बहुत आसान हो जाता है. Mains becomes very easy, but conceptual part will take some time. But first you'll clear the prelims, तब तो mains आएगा, है ना? Then in prelims the aim is to master concepts. Prelims is about conceptual understanding, every concept. Most of the questions you get in the prelims is in the area of banking, monetary policy. जो topics आएंगे, I'll also tell the relevance of those topics as the topic will come. So a judicious judgment has to be made if I'm preparing for the examination. Because normally what happens that students who are preparing for exam, they are just randomly studying. Remember, this exam is very objective, very clear. आप बहुत effort को plan करके करोगे and effort can be optimized in a very structured manner. So studying more will not be so important than studying relevant and smartly. So we have to do that. और ये I'm telling you about the experiences which I have seen, and when I was an aspirant, I was also of a similar approach, right? Okay, so then banking, monetary policy, public finance, budget, external sector, schemes, these are the major topics where you'll get maximum questions. In mains, 7-8 questions can be expected, where 100 to 110 marks आपको mains में 250 में मिलेगा, and topics like agriculture, growth, budget, infrastructure, liberalization, and all the topics that you are studying, they have to be conceptual, and contemporary relevance has to be asked. Contemporary relevance means any topic that is asked, why it is being asked right now. Okay? Then in prelims, the weightage normally it changes, but more or less topics that you get in the prelims area is from the banking, monetary policy, public finance. These are topics, and they cover actually major part of the syllabus also for prelims. So strong conceptual preparation is required. You have to go into the concept of the topic. And in UPSC prelims, as I mentioned, 15 to 18 questions are coming. Out of that, 10 to 11 questions are conceptual. 4 or 5 questions have current based. So that will require extra effort in the current affair areas. Our objective is to at least touch the 80% of the questions हम कर लें exam में. Then coming to the mains part. Now mains, which means GS paper 3. In GS paper 3 we have 5 subjects. Okay, and this is the weightage. 25 I have not added. So if you look at the economy section, this is the economy section. This year it was 115. So out of 250 marks, on an average 125, 110, 115, 10, 100 like that. So 115 marks question can be attempted from this section. And take this section very seriously, because it's very highly rewarding section, because it is highly applied based. Then further, if I disaggregate this is the question that have come in the last few years in the main section out of 250 marks, GS3. Then in the in the economic section also, in the GS3 section, the questions that have come, majorly you can see infrastructure, industrial policy, budgeting, growth and development, and agriculture. Now you look agriculture. Agriculture, the chunk of the questions are coming from agriculture. Almost half section for mains, prelims ke liye nahi. Prelims mein you get 1 or 2 questions from agriculture, but mains is all about agriculture. Then the second topic is growth and development. So if you just cover these 2 sections, it will reward you almost 80% of the GS3 economy section. So you have to be very judicious. And here, maybe this section is not very big. You can study this section in matter of 8, 10 days, 12 days, 2 weeks at the max. And this is highly factual also. Yes, you need to have the base of economy in terms of understanding. So this is what I'm telling you, that ये high scoring है if you are able to understand the requirement, decode it. And सबके short notes अच्छे से बने होने चाहिए, conceptual understanding, and contemporary relevance should be there. Current based linkages are very important. So when I'll be covering, I'll be adding a lot of research. अगर हम आज का topic पढ़ेंगे तो till today's research will be added in this. And later on we'll have budget and economic survey, which will do value addition to this section. Okay, so that completes the understanding of economics, how to prepare economics. Now I'll come to one more section. I want you to see the mains paper for prelims. Sorry, a mains paper for economy. And if you just look at the question, you'll find that these questions are pretty basic. So if this from development, they have asked about human development index, and they have compared the human development index with inequality index. Pretty basic. Then they have asked, this is highly contemporary relevance, the Trump policy. World is moving away from free trade and multilateralism to protectionism and bilateralism. Now this is the current trend from last 5-7 years. So pretty basic. So this question, but again very contemporary, which means your reading has to be very thorough in newspaper. Then explain the factors influencing the decision of farmers on the selection of high value crops in India. So for that you have to understand India's economy, the agriculture, the problems, the cropping pattern, the trends, everything. Holistically you should have a good understanding of, and these are things that you can also answer from your common sense. But again, if you are a UPSC aspirant, your understanding and knowledge and communication has to be very, very specific and to the point. Then scope of supply chain management. Now these are static topics. Directly syllabus se utha ke dal diya hai. You have notes ready on them, you have to write here. Then fiscal health index. This is from public finance. A Niti Aayog report came on that. So whenever we are studying, we are getting reports. We are getting a lot of reports are there. Government reports, Niti Aayog reports, developmental report, IMF reports. So when you are covering all those reports, UPSC can ask questions on the issues on those reports, because that report would be on certain Indian issue on itself. If IMF ka report aata hai, they might ask about how Indian states are doing fiscally, what are the challenges of India's economy. So when you are studying, you have to understand that जो भी current में topics आ रहे हैं, those topics will be important, but that mapping with syllabus is very important. Always understand the requirements of exam by mapping the syllabus. I'll be providing you one more detailed list of topics from economy section where questions might be asked. एक आपका detailed syllabus भी मैं आपको provide करूँगा. Okay, so you just have to be regular, and you have to believe in the effort. Now let's talk about sources. Anything outside the source from the class. So in sources we have, as I mentioned, there are two parts of the syllabus. The first is the static part, and second is the dynamic part. In static, there are a lot of handbooks on Indian economy. These are nothing but these are guides. So for me, they are not very good. They will just update some information or fact. But from other sources, there are some good sources. For example, the standard source. So there are two books. One is the Indian Economy by Mishra and Puri. Then Indian Economy by Dutt and Sundaram. Then here we have a lot of handbooks in Indian economy. We have Ramesh Singh, we have Vivek Singh, we have uh, uh, Nitin Singhania, we have Sanjeev Verma. There are many books are there, but these are handbooks. So don't think that they will help you to learn the subject. They'll just summarize maybe in few hundred pages. But these are standard material, but they are bulky. They will take time. So you can follow them only if you have time. Normally my notes, I've covered, my notes will have updation from all the areas. Then in the newspaper part, apart from the dynamic sources, we have budget. So in budget, we have 2 years budget, the budget that is going to come next year. So budget in, let's say, 2026-27, the current budget also. Then economic survey. Again, economic survey has to be done selectively. Then you have newspapers. In newspapers, we have The Hindu, and you have explained section of Indian Express. So in Indian Express, you get a very good series called explained section. So the articles on economy from The Hindu or Indian Express, एक ही follow करिए. Then apart from this, we have NCERTs. In NCERT, we have class 11th NCERT, Indian Economic Development, and 12th Macroeconomics. Class 9th and 10th NCERT can also be followed, but again, ज़रूरत नहीं है, because the class 9th and 10th NCERT, mainly it is about Indian economy, that is part of the syllabus. So if you're covering the class, I mean, it's not needed. But if you have bandwidth and time, you can read those chapters, 9th and 10th NCERT. There are 4 chapters in class 9th and there are 5 chapters in class 10th NCERT. But I would advise go with the class 11th NCERT. Here also you can go selectively in this chapter 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. In this chapter 1 to 6. The new NCERT, there are 8 chapters. Out of that, chapter 1 to 6 can be followed. सब नहीं पढ़ना है, जो relevant है वो पढ़ना है. Okay, I think Kanika you got it right. समझ में आ गया? So this is the sources. Let's say you already have a handbook on India's economy. So don't purchase any new book. If you all, बहुत सारे लोग पास किताब होगी, I think. A lot of people have already purchased it. But if you haven't purchased it, avoid it right now, because we would do that in the class. But if you want some extra reading, then for extra reading, I would rather advise that selectively you can go for standard sources. Okay? So this is about the sources that we have to follow. Keep it simple, keep it basic. Newspaper reading बहुत ज़रूरी हो जाता है, because in economy the questions that you're getting would be on trends. Now when you talk about the main section, अगर आप main section की बात कर रहे हो तो ये सब current based questions हैं. So conceptually you have understanding, but you have to link with current. So this fiscal health index report was given by Niti Aayog. It is about health of various states fiscally, financially state में कैसा चल रहा है, debt कितना है उनका, how well they are performing. So this was a report. This came in January. Then you have irrigation, though it's a part of geography, but yes, this. Then food processing industry, favorite topic of UPSC. Every second year you get a one question on food processing industry. Then semiconductor manufacturing hub. This question kind of, this was very much in news. Okay, so this, I covered this in the yesterday's current affair class also, I think. Semicon 2025 जो हुआ आपका, ठीक है? Okay. So that completes the sources and the trend. Now, as I mentioned in UPSC is concerned about conceptual understanding of the subject. Conceptually clear हो जाएगा, फिर mains वाला part में concept application part would be there.